Hey everybody. So looking at once again making sure audio is running well. Uh we're in our 10th live stream. Oh, that's okay, Ravenspath. It's not a problem at all. I'm enjoying what we're doing so far. This one is kind of maybe a little bit overdue. We're going to be building an exemplar today. The reason why it is where it is, basically in the month, we're basically a little bit past halfway through, but it was getting an exemplar into Path Builder, and I'm going to show you where you can do both an animist and exemplar. Get the link. Some guy on Reddit did it, did a really good job at it, and I'll show you guys where to do it. But I do want to open up with a couple things. And the first thing is we are at 190 videos in 199 days. So I want to thank anybody who's been watching for that long, but it's hard to believe that we're almost at 200 videos, and I might do something for that. Maybe like the next live or something. Do a giveaway or something along those lines. That'll be fun. But all that being said, the other things I wanted to say is actually in the coming week, we have some pretty cool things coming up. And it's what I did yesterday. I didn't have a video yesterday. One of the reasons why is because in the evening I went out, after work I went out and I was looking for things to review. And I have a couple things that I want to show. First off, one of the things I'm going to review, this isn't indie. This is a Simon & Schuster, actually Adams Media RPG Campfire card deck. I've been playing around with this. It's actually kind of cool. Just to give you a brief overview of what it is, and I got it for like $16 or something, is you can, let's say you have a party. Doesn't matter whether you've been together for a year. Doesn't matter whether you're doing it at session 1 or session 0. Hey, how's it going, Waffles? Basically, what you can do is you can maybe in downtime, go back and have everybody draw 2 cards. And there's a bunch of cards in here. And one card is for you, and one card is something you're going to ask a member of your party. And they could be things like hypotheticals, like if the whole party was about to die and you could save one person, who would it be? It's those kind of questions. And it basically, I can see multiple uses for it, both for learning more about your party as well as learning a little bit about working on your own backstory or how your character actually acts. Another one was, I got this, which is a 2-player card game strategy type thing. I wanted to do a couple things away from Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Does it? Well, I actually got the exemplar off, because it's just a class build and Path Builder, and someone actually did it on Reddit, and I'm going to show everybody where it is, but you can do Animist as well. As a matter of fact, I probably should have done it, but I didn't. But this is basically a 2-player card game. The reason why I want to do some of these things is I want to get a little bit, I don't want to say away from Pathfinder, because I'm not going to get away from Pathfinder, but there are other things out there, and I always say that. However, I don't want to get involved in a super big strategy game. There are other games out there. Heck, even when Starfinder 2nd Edition comes out, that is going to be something that I'm going to be getting into, but I don't want to get into something that deep. So on occasion, especially while we're waiting for the remaster and looking for topics to cover, it might be a good idea to do some cozy tabletop role-playing games. And then the third one I want to do is from one of our past independent creators, and it'll be, hopefully this video will be coming out Monday, is from one of our past independent creators. We actually have another preview coming out of an independent creation. However, it involves a pretty big name. At Paizo is part of it, and I'm super excited for it. I've read what they've given me, and I'm putting together notes in order to put together a video, hoping to have the whole editing process and all other kind of stuff done by Monday. But so we have another independent creator thing coming out. And there are a few other things like that. So now we're going to get into Exemplar. Now, Exemplar is one of the ones that I kind of like the most. And if you guys, I'll go through some things I have up here. So let's switch to this view. So And I'm going to have a video on this out tomorrow, and I put it in the community notes as well. But we're halfway through the playtest. Exactly. And this one, how much do I want to say before the video comes out? I'm talking Raven's Path with another interview equals more money spent. This is much bigger than the other ones. The cost isn't that bad in truth, and it's going to be a Kickstarter. So there's multiple tiers that you can pay. I'm pretty excited about it in truth, but that you're going to have to wait till Monday for. But one of the things I want to do is, once again, Pathfinder playtest halfway there. I've built characters for both, and I kind of like the Exemplar better, only because the Exemplar seems a little bit more balanced to me. Bunch of things here. Once again, I actually have a video on this particular blog post coming out tomorrow morning. And they don't have all the things for Animist, or actually they're still introducing things for Animist, and we're only, 2 weeks away from that closing out. So I kind of like Exemplar a little better. I think it's a little bit more finished. The one thing I wanted to say is, so this is the Reddit post I'm very specifically talking about, posted by the username Slowhost. He has been putting out a Path Builder class, and I can actually show you how to import it. But just did an update on the 18th, and you can do both the Animist and the Exemplar. It works pretty flawlessly, as you're going to see, and I really, really recommend it. Basically, what you would do is you don't you don't go here and download a file. If you do this, it's basically a JSON file, so it's going to be a bunch of random characters. But you would just click that link, then you would go to your Path Builder, and you would do Custom Pack, and then you would bring in a class, and then you click Import Custom Pack, and you bring in that JSON file, and next thing you know, you're going to have Animist and Exemplar in order for you to build. This isn't going to be a character that you're going to keep long term, because even in that blog post, they really mention that there's a lot of changes that need to be made. Things are going to be moved, feats are going to be moved around. Some feats are going to be removed. A lot of feats are going to be added. The majority of the feats that already exist will still exist in the released version, or at least a modified version of it. Maybe, they have to move stuff around. This is a play test, and some things are broken, and they do acknowledge that. But going back to this, if you were to search for Path Builder 2E, Animist, and Exemplar import, this is going to be like your second link that's going to come up without even putting Reddit in the search bar. And I fully recommend, and full credit to this guy, full credit to the Pathfinder 2nd Edition subreddit. So if you want this particular thing in order to build and kind of play around with, then that is where I would go. And just do that really quickly once again. You go to your hamburger menu, you click Custom Pack, you would do Import Custom Pack, and then you would click whatever it needs to be, whatever the file name is. And then I already have it imported. And then you will, as soon as you're done importing, it's kind of in, and you can build whichever one you want. So if anybody has any questions on that, put it in the chat, and I can go over it a little bit more if you want to. But it's all generally pretty easy. So one of the things I was thinking now, unlike Sly of the Northern Reaches, who I still love my little illustration for that, and I do have plans for what's next with the illustrations with the rest of the party, because I think I'm going to do the rest of the party too. But I don't have any preconceived notions on this one. The only thing I would like to do is we're going to leave some stuff up, just like we did in the last one. We're going to leave a lot of stuff up. I was thinking doing a half-orc female Exemplar. That's where I was going. And then there's a few other things I was going to show that I generally like to do. So if we do a half-orc, we're going to leave it as human. And then we'll go ahead and click down Exemplar. Do I see a chat coming up? Okay. So anytime you bring in a custom pack, you know how you have the different colors show you the different common, rare, those kind of things, uncommon. Anything that you import is always going to show up in green. So just go ahead and click Exemplar, and you can bring it up. Background doesn't really matter. I usually use farmhand because hobnobber in a lot of cases is useless unless you're the face of the party. 2E remaster, they're going to have half Hobgoblin. That's coming. They're going to have half whatever you want in the remaster. I'm so excited for remaster. That is like a month and a half away now. God, I'm excited for remaster. So when you get to this particular section, you know, we do our ABCs. So we did our ancestry, we did our background, we did our class. Then you do the D for your character creation. D is don't forget about your abilities, or attributes is what it's actually going to be in the remaster. And I have the little exemplar up here. So it is strength or dexterity. I was thinking like a big, and if anybody in the chat, please feel free to jump in and say you want to do something different, because I'm just playing here. And that's really what we're going to do, is we're going to kind of play around here. I'm thinking like a big burly female half orc goddess, like a goddess of war or something. I think that's such a good imagery. It's like it's a Valkyrie but bigger. So I'm pretty happy with that. Wish Kenzer Company put out Pathfinder. Yeah. Well, I would have to look into that a little bit. Waffles, I am gonna have to look into that. Hobgoblin or female. Hobgoblin. And to me, my understanding, 2E remaster, we can do a Hobgoblin orc female. So it would be medium sized but stocky. But I'm thinking strength-based exemplar is where I'm thinking about going. Secondary, leave it at Dex, because Dex is good to have. I'm thinking this is going to be a frontliner. And after going over the feats that I was looking at, but once again, this is a collaborative effort. So everybody, please feel free to kind of jump in and do whatever you want. Background boosts, that's actually a good one. Constitution and strength. And class boost, we could do Dex, or the only other thing I was potentially thinking was we could do, what's that, labor background? All right, let's take a look at labor background. I don't know that. I mean, I recognize it, labor. Strength or con, one is free. Oh, hefty hauler. Ooh, yeah, that's actually a good one. That's actually a good one. Thanks, Waffles. Strength Dex. We got 16. So we got our 18 there. Then you do strength, con, Dex. And I was thinking about doing charisma because intimidation was the one skill feat I was going to take at level 2 and do intimidating glare. I figure a good half-elf goddess should be able to intimidate people with just a glare. Skill training, we got our athletics from the labor, which I like a lot. I didn't even really realize that one. Intimidation and possibly could be anything else. Hefty hauler. Well, with a hobgoblin orc, it wouldn't be hefty, I'll say that. But human or half orc, we can do that. Or human orc as a half orc. This, I would possibly say either acrobatics. I'm not counting on this being the healer. Occultism, but we don't have the intelligence for that. Arcana, we don't have the intelligence for that. Diplomacy, isn't necessarily going to be the face. So I'm kind of thinking acrobatics might be a good way to go. And then we go into heritage. Heritage, half orc. Ancestry feat. Now, if I am doing half orcs, it depends on what I want to do. The obvious one, and everybody grabs it, it's natural ambition and tries to grab something more. If I'm doing a straight, if I want to go into orc, if I really want to go into orc and I'm doing a frontliner, here's the one I really like. I like orc superstition simply because it's a reaction and you can do it. By doing it, you get a +1 circumstance bonus to your saving throws against spells or magical effects. Tusks. Tusk is a good one as well because it's another attack. I haven't ever picked Tusks, but I've always considered Tusks every single time. But collaborative, we're going to do Tusks. So we got Hefty Hauler and we got Tusks. Now, this was all kind of basic stuff. Oh, here's one other thing I want to do. I don't know how everybody else comes up with their names for their characters. Thanks, Ravens Pass. Like I say, yeah, I think Tusks is actually a good one too. I've never picked it though, but we need a name. So the fourth website I have up here, the one that I haven't gone to yet, you know what? Here's where I go for names for characters that I don't have a good idea for. I don't know that many orc names or how that would work. There is a place, fantasynamegenerator.com, pathfinder.php. Generally speaking, I believe this is off 1E rules, but I think for names, that's all that really matters. And they have everything. So if you're trying to make an NPC or you're trying to make an enemy, is it the site you use? Whenever I've needed a name, this is where I go. I will say this. I usually don't pick their names straight. A lot of times I'll mess around and pick one that is a little bit different, or I'll get the feeling of the name. But you pretty much just go here and it follows whatever the lore was for the names to an extent. It's not perfect. And once again, if this is going to be the character you're going to be playing for the next 5 years, or if you are some famous or semi-famous or even not famous, but if you're on, a podcast or a YouTube reel play and you're going to be doing this for years, you might want to put a little bit more consideration into your name. But for an NPC, or I don't even want to say a throwaway character, but for a character name that you're not either super familiar with or you don't have a lot of ties to, this is a good place to go. Female names for a half-orc. That's where we are. Pathfinder half-orcs. Vagox Vad, I kind of like that. Tizzy Roar. And you want to keep this, I'm going to copy it because I kind of like that one. And find out. Tizzy Roar, find out. Ravenclad. Nose Sove. You'd have to say Nose, otherwise you just say nose. Delry Talks. And for some reason, it's not even for some reason. I usually don't pick super long names only because I feel bad for the people I'm playing with at the table if they have to try to say my 10-syllable name every single time. And if I do, like I had one halfling bard that actually had a super huge name, but I gave him a nickname that was only 1 syllable. Ravenclad. Well, Raven's Path, of course you would be. I think, foot down, we're going with Tizzy. Tizzy Roar. I like Tizzy Roar. Unless everybody really hates it. But I know you'd be partial to Ravenclad, Raven's Path. So now we actually get into the good part and what actually makes this. Oh, one more time before I go away from it. fantasynamegenerators.com/Pathfinder. And it'll get you here. Once again, if this is going to be the actual representation of you in a fantasy world, maybe put a little more time into it. But if you're just looking for an NPC name, it's a fantastic resource. But now we get into the actual exemplar parts of it. So we're going to go on this screen and we're going to scroll all the way down to the icons. And I do have ones that I like. Tizzy Ravenclad. Look, you can give her whatever nickname you want. This one is not one that's probably going to show up in the playthroughs because by the time, I haven't done any playthroughs lately because I don't know what the rules are going to be yet, technically. And I'm waiting for the remaster to start going back to doing playthroughs, where I actually bring stuff up on Foundry. But by that point, I plan to have all the characters taken. Oh, I'll bring that up. This is where I go on tangents. So for anybody who's watching this for the first time, I go on tangents. So I'm thinking of moving Sly into the playthrough party and taking out Anseal. Anseal's the wizard. We need a cleric. I love Emily. Emily is my favorite thief, my little goblin thief. And Crag, I love Crag. Antiel is just a wizard. I'm thinking about taking out the wizard and putting Sly in. But if I do that, they're the ones who are going to get illustrated to go in this little bottom screen here. Anyways, all that aside. Body icons. I have my favorites. However, this is going to be cooperative. And once again, I'll do what I did for Sly's. I'll go ahead and put this character sheet up on the description after we're done with this particular video. But they did a really great job at bringing this into Path Builder. So we have the body icons. All 4 are here. Now, the one, what's Raven's Path? Yeah. You guys are ganging up right now. My absolute favorite is eye-catching spot, only because it's just so over the top. But I don't think that's a good one for a frontliner. That would be a fetching beauty spot under the eye, or smile as warm as the sun distracts foes and captures hearts alike. Your beauty becomes supernaturally enhanced, distracting foes and imposing a -1 circumstance penalty to melee attack rolls against you. I love the flavor of that one. My actual favorite one is... Oh, no, I forgot. No, it isn't forgot. Gaze sharp as steel is actually the one I think is the most practical. Eyes glint with an almost tangible sharpness, letting you spot the tiniest dove on the horizon or the swiftest arrow in flight. The reason why is because your vision sharpens and allows you to sense an enemy's attack almost as soon as it begins, granting you a +1 status bonus to perception checks. Here's the biggie, and a +2 status bonus to your AC against ranged attacks. This one gives you a circumstance penalty to basically any attack roll against you melee. Cooperative Raffles and Raven's Path are having a whole side conversation about the name still. And I actually love it, so please. In my world, she'll be Ravenclad, but called Tizzy for some backstory reason. So, these two, the other ones. Okay, so Skin as Hard as Iron. This one you have to pick. This one is good, but you have to pick a bludgeoning, slashing, or piercing damage when you first select it, and you can never change it. It's still good. It is. It's very good. Getting a resistance. And the Transcendence, all of them are pretty good. None of the Transcendences put them over the top for me. Scar of the Survivor. I love the Die Hard feat, but you basically die at a 5 instead of a 4. And a +1 status bonus to Fortitude saves. That's good. But my 2 favorite ones are Eye-Catching Spot for -1 circumstance penalty to melee, and Gaze Sharp as Steel is -2 status bonus. Well, yeah, I could agree with that. Awful. So the beauty is role playing, yet is the bump to perception and AC is hefty. So this would actually fit better with a hefty hauler, but there are plenty of guy and girl adventures out there that like another thick guy or girl adventure out there. So just because Tizzy is a hefty hauler doesn't mean she can't be beautiful. So it could be either one. Let me look at the imminences real quick. Captivating Charm. So you focus your attention on creatures within 30 feet, overwhelming their senses. They must succeed. I just saw a chat coming. I got to look at it in a second. They must succeed at a will save against your class DC or be fascinated by you until the start of your next turn. Fantastic. Steely Gaze would catch my eye. Blue Steel. To me, I call this one Blue Steel. And then for Gaze Sharp as Steel, a moment unending, you take every moment around you, allowing you to react to things you ordinarily couldn't, and you gain Reactive Strike. So you basically gain an attack of opportunity pre-remaster as long as you spend an action, which both of them are fantastic. And also remember, in order to get the Transcendence, the Imminence and the Transcendence, you have to put your spark in that icon at that time. So when you're deciding on your icon, it does matter where you think your icon is going to be placed on your character in most cases. If you want defensive, it's probably going to be in body. If you want offensive, it's going to be in your weapon. Blue Steel Tizzy. I like that, actually. And if you want utility, it's generally going to be your Warren. And they have some baller Warren icons, in truth. Eye-catching spot, is that where we're going? I love eye-catching spot, and I love Blue Steel, and it is all role play. And if I was playing this character, I would go so over the top with it. It's why I like exemplars, because you can go over the top. Unless I see, it's got to save, of course. Blue Steel. So Blue Steel Tizzy. Blue Steel Tizzy Ravenclaw. Is that what we're going with now? She's going to have a big exemplar name without actually ever doing any feats yet. Your body icon is your defense in general. Then we go to and here it's Warren icons and then weapons icons, which I thought was weird, but we will go ahead and do that. So Warren is going to be your utility. So the one that I really like is basically all of these give you an aura that applies to everybody around you. There are two that are really good. Thousand League Sandals. Basically, all your allies within a 15 feet aura get a plus 10 status bonus to their speed. And Palisade Bangles, everybody in the aura gets a plus 1 circumstance bonus to AC. It increases to plus 2 if they have a buckler raised, or plus 3 if they have a shield raised. And then the other one, Victor's Wreath, does something similar, although it doesn't heighten. Tizzy Blue Steel Ravenclaw. Do you want to own this character sheet after we're done? Because I could send it to you. It'll be in your it'll be in the description after we're done. So if you want offense, Victor's Wreath. If you want defense, Palisade Bangles. If you want speed, Thousand League Sandals and Skybearer's Belt. Strength flows outward from you, allowing all allies within 15 feet to carry more bulk, 4 more bulk. So that is Hefty Hauler for friends. Transcend, once again, okay, and also remember, you have to have your spark in the icon for the imminence or the transcend to work. So you basically have to pick so in my head, when I'm walking around, a good one is Abomination Vaults, because you quickly go from thing to thing without, like Gatewalkers, you're going to weird thing, to next weird thing, then to a regular battle, and then to some weird thing again. Abomination Vaults, you're going hallway, room, battle kind of stuff. If you are walking around and scouting, your spark is in your Warren. And then when you go into battle, it's either going to be in your body for defense or going to be in your weapon for offense. So that's how I like to think of it. So walking around, it's going to be in the body icon, and Tizzy is going to be Blue Steel. Walking around, Abomination Vaults. And then Warren icons, what are we thinking with that one? Frontline, yeah, definitely frontline. That's why I wanted to do the half orc, is I wanted a frontline. An exemplar, I could, unless you're doing a ranger-ish, I take that back. You can do this however you want to. You can have an icon. In my head, in my wooden head up here, I keep thinking like as the superhero being the frontliner or being the Hawkeye type character. Okay, but Warren icons. Are we thinking we want offense? This is in battle. No, I'm sorry. This is utility. So this could be in battle. It's either offense, defense, or speed. Hefty Hauler. I'm not so down with that one. I am thinking, man, I don't know. At what point Kevin Sorbo's Hercules as Tizzy? Basically with tusks. It's Kevin Sorbo with tusks. I'm thinking we would probably do, I'm trying to think tactically here. So if I'm in battle, I'm probably going to have it in my weapon. More likely than not. So in what case would I put my spark in my Warren item for utility? I'm thinking if we have to retreat. Would an Exemplar ever retreat? Would Tizzy, Blue Steel, Raven's Path, Hercules ever retreat? Yes, because we don't want to die at first level. So either the speed, pop your spark in your speed, and all of a sudden your whole party can retreat faster. Or if you're getting chased or you're in a infiltration, you could actually use the speed. Or the AC is what I'm thinking, but I'm going to give 10 seconds to decide if you want speed, carrying bodies. Then that's Skybearer's Belt. That's Hefty Hauler. So we got one speed, we got one Hefty Hauler. Then I am going to, what did I do with it? Do I not have it sitting around? Oh. 1 second. Okay, dice. Random gods. So I am going to roll a d6. Once again, I have to get one of those cameras that faces down. If you really want to know, I actually do, because some of the things I'm thinking about reviewing are going to be cards, and I'd actually like to have a face-down table camera. I think that would be nice. So d6, we're going to do, odds are going to be, we did speed and carrying bodies. So our odds are going to be Thousand League Sandals, and evens are going to be Skybearer's Belt. It was a 6. So it's Skybearer's Belt. We are going to carry bodies. And then we have the weapon icon is where we are going to next. I do have a favorite here too. Not for Tizzy. I just have a favorite in general. Yes. Yes, Waffles. So we have Barrow's Edge. It's actually a good one. A melee weapon that deals slashing or piercing damage. So this would be if you wanted a, two-handed bastard sword, or you wanted a big axe or something along those lines. Your weapon icon deals, I love this one, because of persistent spirit damage. And this is going to tie in with the second level feat that we can get when we get to level 2. Okay, yeah, in order to explain that, I'm actually going to jump to the feats here just for a second. So the blade rattles in the scabbard as it wants to be unsheathed so it can consume violence. Your weapon icon deals 1 persistent spirit damage per weapon damage die to creatures it strikes. So it gives you persistent damage. Here's why the spirit damage is important. Because if you go to the second level feats, and that would be Sanctified Soul. You're drawn a line in the sand in the cosmic struggle between good and evil and choose a side. You gain either the holy trait or the unholy trait. So your spirit damage can be holy or unholy damage if you choose Sanctified Soul as your second level class feat. That's why I like Barrow's Edge. Imminence, weapon icon deals 1 persistent spirit. We already talked about that. Transcend, drink at my... Well, if it has resistance, then you're not going to get it. But that's why I would hope you're holy. Unless you're Tarbathon or one of the other deities we went over last week, then you might be something totally different. But whatever the opposite of... Hopefully you're fighting the opposite of what you are. Drink of my foes. Holy fits. Yeah. For Tizzy? Yes. I kind of think so, although we haven't picked a god yet. Drink of my foes. Your lax action was a successful strike with a Barrow's Edge effect. Your blade glows as it absorbs your foe's vitality. You regain hit points equal to half the damage dealt. Love that. Faded Shot. This would be your Ranger Hawkeye type Exemplar. Your missiles shine as they fly through the air like falling stars. Your weapon icon deals 1 additional spirit damage per weapon damage die to creatures it strikes. So it's an additional spirit damage. Once again, you can sanctify that with a first level class feat, which I love. Reign of 7 Lights. I love the name, but it's 2-action transcend, whereas this was a 1-action transcend. You fire a projectile into the air with your weapon, which becomes a shower in a 5-foot burst within 60 feet. Frontline needs HP. Exactly. That's why I really like Barrow's Edge. Gleaming Blade's cool too. If you're like the off tank, each creature in the area must succeed basic reflex save against your class DC or take spirit damage equal to, and there's a little bit more in there, but if you are going to be a ranged attack, or you are going to be a dex-based exemplar, Fated Shot would be a good one. Gleaming Blade, any weapon in the sword or knife group. If you have a bastard sword, this would be great for that. Any sword, really, but I'm thinking for Tizzy. The sword glitters with such sharpness, it seems to cut the very air in front of it. The faster it can be drawn, your weapon icon deals 2 additional spirit damage per weapon damage die to creatures it strikes. That's a fantastic one. 4 straight damage, it's not persistent. There's really not a huge bad one here. A Noble Branch, if you wanted to be kind of like a monk or a bow staff or something along those lines, although it can apply to other things. But any weapon in the spear or polearm weapon group, or the staff, bow staff, fighting stick. The simple stick-like weapon has simplicity and elegance all its own. Your weapon icon deals 2 additional spirit damage per weapon damage die to the creatures it strikes. I actually should do this real quick. And that actually gets me that back. So, and the transcend is strike, breathe, rend. Single action requirements. Your last action was a successful strike with a Noble Branch. Well, if you guys hear barking or growling, my 2 dogs decided that right now is the time to play, so they're down here huffing at each other. You channel a pulse of energy down your weapon at the moment of contact. The target of the required strike takes spirit damage equal to your weapon's damage dice. I believe that is the amount of damage dice that you would roll. And then Titan's Breaker is a melee weapon in the club, hammer, or axe group. Your weapon icon deals 2 additional spirit damage per weapon damage die to creatures it strikes. Constructs and objects are not immune to the spirit damage, and the spirit damage automatically bypasses any hardness they have. This is important for basically objects. Transcend, fracture mountains. Your spirit is so dense that it takes on a tangible force. Make a melee strike with your weapon icon. Counts as 2 attacks. When calculating multiple attack penalty, if this strike hits, your additional spirit damage increases to 4 plus an extra die of weapon damage. If you're at least 10th, it heightens basically. So this would boil down to quite literally, what weapon are we giving Tizzy? My guess would be either a sword. Yeah, I like persistent more so than straight up damage. This is super nice if you have a hammer, club, any of those type of things. But so either Barrow's Edge, Gleaming Blade, or the Titan Breaker. Warhammer. So if we're doing Warhammer, we are doing Titan Breaker. Alrighty, we are doing Titan Breaker. Titan's Breaker. And once again, if you do pull this up and pull this out of Reddit to build, it literally has everything in here for you, just like it is over here. So they did a really good job at converting this over. That is first level Tizzy. I like it. I like it a lot. So then we go to our class feats. Titan Breaker is Tizzy's dating app. Someone should do that. Then we have Claim Initiate Domain. So this basically allows you to pick a spell, kind of like as a it costs 1 focus point to cast a focus spell. And you start with a focus pool of 1 focus point. This basically allows you to do spells if you don't normally do it. Leap to Falls gives you powerful leap and quick jump skill feats. That's fantastic as well. Sanctified Soul. I love if you picked a weapon that gives spirit damage, and these do. So that would be a good one. Thorns of Mortality. This is another one. If you go back to when Waffle said frontline needs HP, so by channeling your divinity into a creature along with a strike, you can disrupt their ability to recover. This is taking away HP from an enemy that they could recover. And basically, your power lingers within them. My dogs are going nuts over here. And when the target would regain hit points, such as from a healing effect or an ability like fast healing or regeneration, it must attempt a will save against your class DC to determine the effects. And then the barbs dissipate. The barbs also dissipate after 1 minute. Keeping an enemy down. Exactly. Success. Yep, the dogs are playing right now. On a failure, the creature regains only half the number of hit points. And on a critical failure, the creature does not regain hit points. It's funny that they're deciding to play right now. I hope you guys can hear him, actually. Thorn's Mortality is good if you want to prevent an enemy from recovering hit points. It doesn't do additional damage, so it's not persistent or anything like that. It just makes it harder for them to heal. So if you have something with regeneration, I'm glad you can hear it. They're being annoying. This is what I deal with all day. Funny thing is, and I will get a picture, if I can get that overhead camera and I can do multiple cameras, I'll do one so that people can look. One is 110 pounds and one is 12 pounds. And they're funny together. Twin Stars. I could turn this into a dog live stream. Persistent damage. The puppies want in on the fun. Exactly. They're getting excited about that. Twin Stars. A one-handed weapon icon. We probably are not, but your Divine Spark embodies a primordial deity, and the weapon icon splits itself accordingly into two corresponding halves. This basically means that you can take a one-handed weapon and make it two. If you were going to do this, to me, how I read it, so you can use this ability, again, to fuse the two holes back in their original form. As these are both manifestations of the same object, your Divine Spark empowers the two halves as if they were a single icon. If you took some type of free archetype, a feat that lets you do double strikes, double slice, something along those lines, this would be good. But only in that case. But you would have that planned. So this is actually a really good feat to take if you are planning on being a two-weaponed Exemplar. And Vow of Mortal Defiance. You cannot be sanctified if you're going to be doing this. So having seen the records left by the gods, so on and so forth, conclusion, they all must be cut off from their silken thrones. You swear a vow to defeat one creature within 60 feet that has a holy or unholy trait. I like the leap one. The one that I like because of the spirit damage. Now, once again, this doesn't add additional damage. It just gives it a type. So if you were going to Abomination Vaults, hopefully that's not a big spoiler if people think that a Dungeon Delve isn't going to have undead. But if you are going to Abomination Vaults, this would be fantastic. If you are playing, what would be a good one? Outlaws or Fist of the Ruby Phoenix. I don't think this would be as good. I do actually like Leap the Falls, Powerful Leap, and Quick Jump skill feats are actually pretty darn good. The one thing that you don't get out of it is it's not an act. It's just it's just something that is. You can do these things whenever you want. So that is an actual very good thing. If you do want spells, an additional spell, this would be a good one to have. If you have a party who doesn't have a lot of magic and you just want someone who can detect magic or read aura or something along those lines, this would be a good one to be. That might be a little bit too basic, detect magic, read aura. But if you wanted to cast spells, that would be a good one to take. We're going to do, I guess, Leap because AOO. Yes, that would actually kind of be good. Or Reactive Strike. So I guess that's what we're picking. We're going with the group. Skill feat. There's a bunch of great ones. Quick jump we already got. And anybody have one they really like? There's some that I normally take. I'll be 100% honest with you. The one I would take, the one I was thinking was Intimidating Glare, simply because you can intimidate without using your voice. So you can intimidate creatures that don't speak your language. That is one of the worst things in the world, is when you want to intimidate and you have a high intimidation type creature and all of a sudden you find out that they only speak Aklo. And you're like, well, who speaks Aklo? But if I have a character with high charisma and they have intimidation, I love taking intimidating glare. Blue steel glare. We're putting it all together. This is going to be a complete package. But it is Raven's Path character, apparently. So that's our level 2. I guess we'll go up to maybe level 5 or so. Skill increase. What I would do here is probably, counting on the other people in my party to be the smart people, I would probably either put this into athletics or intimidation. I'm thinking intimidation if we're taking intimidating glare. Anybody have anything else that they would like to pick? Medicine, I'm counting on someone else. Free archetype. We could do a free archetype, but for just a pure exemplar, probably, yeah, because if free archetype, if you want to do free archetype, if you don't know this for Path Builder, if you want to do free archetype, you have to do character options. And when you do your character options, you scroll down here and you click on Allow Game Mastery Guide Free Archetype. If you want a dual class, you have to click this. Automatic, and all the other ones. The alternate stamina rules, the ultimate paragon rules, ability boost rules, bonus progression. If you want to add these things to your character, you just go to, we'll do it one more time, go to hamburger menu, and you go to character options, and it's all right there. I'm going to say, for the purposes of this particular video, we're probably not going to do free archetype. Only because I love doing free archetype. I love doing free. If I GM, it's always an option because it's the most fun and it allows the players to do things that they normally can't do. And I usually like to do it, especially if I don't have someone who loves playing a cleric. I love playing a cleric, but a lot of people don't. And that way you can have someone who accepts being the support character of the party, who can do other things though as well. So I love doing that. But I guess we're going to leave it with no free archetype, if that's okay. Yeah, it is. It's like free candy. I don't see why you wouldn't want your characters to do free archetype. I love clerics. I love clerics and bards. Those are my two favorite things to play, bar none. I love doing bards. They're so much fun. Oh, okay. So now we're on a general feat. Ugh. General feat has a bunch of, and they're never traps. I don't want it because people will do, I see that all the time on Reddit and other things like that. Yeah, give it a shot. And if you can make the party a little bit more powerful, it does happen. Yeah, Exemplar frontline. That's a good idea, Wobbles. Then you just make one or two of your monsters the elite template. You know what I mean? If you find that that the free archetype gives your players too much power, then make it go a little bit harder. So if we're doing frontline, we can do things like shield block. Titan Wrestler is a good one. Toughness is a good one. If you plan on going down a lot. Weapon efficiency is good. If you're going to be swimming, Underwater Marauder. I actually knew very little about Underwater Marauder. I don't think I even really looked at that much until Kineticist came out. And then I was like, oh, that's an interesting one. Ride, quick squeeze, quick jump, quick coercion. If you're the face of the party is a good one. So we're looking for frontliners though. I am gonna say armor proficiency, because remember, if we go to here, and I don't understand this, I still don't understand it, is light armor only. So I think that armor proficiency, if we're doing a general, considering that the Exemplar only has light armor proficiency, what does everybody think? Either armor proficiency, the This is the right one, right? Intimidating prowess, or possibly Titan Wrestler. What's everybody thinking? My pick is Armor Efficiency, but I will, or we can do a random god roll. I have more colorful dice here. All right. So I see nobody saying anything, so I am going to pick this one. I'm going to do Armor Efficiency. The free archetype tends to get more roleplay. Yes, it does. Players don't lose a feat from the main class. Yeah, I agree with you. Waffles, 100%. Armor Efficiency. So, skill training. Athletics. Yeah, the armor being like, I don't understand it. I don't understand why Animist gets medium. It just seems to me like that's flipped in a weird way. I am thinking for the next one, I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time picking this. Surprisingly, I don't know how many of you guys have played it this way or what you've heard. I'm going to sit here and rolling my dice around. I love rolling dice. No one in any party ever has society unless it came as part of a background. Society is always a good one to pick if you don't know, because people never have it. Survival, you can usually get by without it depending on your AP or the campaign that you're going to be in. I am thinking we already have intimidation to expert. I'm going to do society just for the heck of it. And root epitaph. Let's get to our epitaphs. Those things are fun. We actually don't get that many here at the beginning. There's feats. Where's the epitaphs? Oh, I went too far. Sorry about that. I guess that's before the icons. Godly expertise. I love that name. Whose cry is thunder? But that's not what we're going to get to. So, root epitaph. Brave. Show fearlessness. When a beast surfaces, you're there to fight it. When someone lost in the dark. So you're trained in athletics, you get that. After you spark transcendence for your body icon, your body carries you forward, allowing you to stride up to half your speed in a straight line towards an enemy of your choice. So it's free half movement. That's actually pretty cool. Cunning. After all, the stories tell. So you're trained in deception. After you spark transcendence in your body icon, you can feint as a free action. Yes, exact. For waffles, for society. But I find that a lot of times, if you are doing a recall knowledge and let's say you're not a caster and it calls for occult or it calls for arcana, I can argue with a GM for society sometimes, but you can't argue, well, let me roll for intimidation on this magic check. That's never going to work. But if you could do a society sometimes, depending on, I don't know. Society, I think, is underused. And as a GM, which I'm just starting to do, once again, I'm still doing that New Orcs on the Block thing. I want to start using society more. So, Mournful. Mournful, this is the Eeyore of the root epitaphs. When you spark transcendence of your body icon, the act has a bittersweet poignancy to it, making one enemy within 30 feet dazzled as tears or memories dance in their eyes. This is a mental or emotion effect. The enemy remains dazzled until the start of your next turn. That's actually pretty darn cool, as long as they can be affected by a mental or an emotion effect. So they have to be somewhat sentient. And then Radiant. After you spark transcendence of your body icon, steel blue. See, that would fit in. The Eeyore one would fit in. Or this one might too. You're training diplomacy after you spark transcendence of your body icon. You inspire an ally within 30 feet to push on, restoring hit points equal to 2 plus double your level. This is a mental and emotion effect. The ally is then temporary immune. This is healing. And to me, this always kills me, and my gaze brings tears to their eyes. This one, if you guys have ever played with a thaumaturge who have inspiring martial stance, oh, I love when they do inspiring martial stance. This is like inspiring martial stance, except it heals people. So, which one are we thinking? Brave, cunning, mournful, or radiant? For Tizzy. For Tizzy, Blue Steel, Raven's Path. Any of them would be good. My favorites here are probably Brave or Mournful. More healing is always better, though, too. And we could also leave this up to the gods. We could do a D4 and pick whichever one it takes. Because in truth, there's nothing wrong with cunning. Raven's Claw, not Raven's Path. I am very sorry about that. Faint. It's not a good half-orc frontliner. I can't see Tizzy fainting. We might do a D6 and cut it in half. So we are going to do Brave is going to be 1. Mournful? I like Mournful. Sung to boys in the yard. Okay. I'm in for Mournful. That'd be funny. So we got armor efficiency, so we can finally use medium armor for some reason that you couldn't before at level 3. So the skill society and the root epitaph is Mournful, which I love. Then at level 4, class feats. So let's go back up to the feats here. Down to the feats, sorry. After, here we go. So the new ones that we get at 4th are going to be Hurl at the Horizon, Weapon Icon. This one I actually love a lot. There's a couple of these that are Thor. 2 of them that are very specifically Thor. I keep looking at chat, not Blue Steel Gaze is amazing. Tizzy's is actually. So these are both Thor. You can do your weapon icon is thrown or melee weapon. Your weapon flies from your hand as if propelled under its own power. You can throw it 15 feet and it comes back to your hand. If you can already throw it, then it just adds 10 feet. But this is, you can throw the hammer and it will automatically come back to your hand. You don't have to pick it up. You don't have to do anything. It just comes back to you. How awesome is that? Only the worthy. You can place your hammer, which is what Tizzy's going to have. You can place your hammer is movable only by your own hand if it's not you, and they don't do the DC check, the DC check is kind of a bummer. We'll get to that in a second. But basically, if it's not you grabbing it, it's the equivalent of trying to lift 8,000 pounds. So it's Thor's hammer. Or if a creature uses athletics to force open the icon with a DC equal to your class DC. That's the only bummer part of it. Because you're like, oh, 8,000 pounds, that's awesome. But you mean, what if you were a halfling exemplar and you pick this one? It's class DC, not strength, not your athletics. So I guess it wouldn't be so bad. Anyways, 2 of those are Thor. And then through the needle's eye, weapon icon is ranged. This would be if you're the Hawkeye. That's the thing about exemplars. You can always, in your head, you can equate any of these exemplars to the superhero or Disney character of your choice, Mournful being Eeyore. Through the needle's eye, your transcend is binding of the needle. This one's a little bit brutal. Molnar. Make a strike with your weapon icon. If that strike is successful, the target must succeed at a fortitude save against your class DC or become blinded for 1 round or until they use an interact action to clear the blood from their eyes. So you basically are so precise in your ranged weapon that you force them to bleed out of their eyes. And they're blinded for an action. How cool is that? Out of these ones, I would think if we're talking frontliner against a creature, and when we don't have attack of opportunity, like, the one that allows you that barbarians get, what's it called? Where they can chase after someone who is trying to escape from them. I forget what that reaction's called. Anyways, if you don't have something like that, being able to throw your Warhammer and have it come back to you without having to spend any additional actions is pretty cool. If it works, yes, that would be very cool, Waffles. So I am thinking Hurl at the Horizon. I'm not mad at only the worthy. although it's not that good in combat. Returning hammer. All right, good. That's what I like. Hurl at the horizon. And it's just so cool because the coolest thing about it is you don't have to spend an additional action. Now, you still have to attack. So it's still going to be an attack, but you don't have to spend an attack moving, picking it up off the ground or out of their forehead or whatever. It just comes back to your hand and you're ready. And then we are on, skill feat. Skill feat. In truth, so when I'm building a character to actually play, I love skill feats. When I'm building an NPC or something like this, there's so many of them. Don't need that weapon returning charm. Very true. So I still like Titan Wrestler. Let's go to the 4th level ones. There's not that many. Ambush tactics wouldn't be great in what we're doing here. We're not trained in a lore. Cognitive crossover. I don't know if Tizzy's going to be smart. Well, here's the thing, and that's actually coming up in a video at some point, is, and I do fall prey to this, is I will have a character, my cleric, 100% my cleric, has no extra points in intelligence, so it has a 10. And I play him as dumb. 10 is just average. It's just like it was for D&D, regardless of the edition, as far as I know. I know it's like that in 5th edition because I read it in 5th edition, but I remember it from 2 as well, is 10 is just average. So just because your character is a 10, you don't have to play him as dumb. But Tizzy isn't going to be... Tizzy would be a C-level student, is basically what I'm saying. What other 4th level ones do we have? Efficient Explorer. Okay, that's lower body specific terrain. What other 4th level ones do we have? That would be it. Anybody have one in specific they would like? We already have armor assist. This would be getting it on and off, isn't it? Yeah, that's donning armor. B+ student. Yeah, basically. But I play my cleric as a dumb. And I already told you guys, I think, that my bard died. So I'm playing a kineticist now. I'm playing my kineticist who has horrible intelligence too. I'm playing him as a gym bro, which I think is funny. He's a himbo, basically. Combat climbers. Good if you're going to be in somewhere that needs a lot of climbing. And I don't know of that many that need a lot of climbing. What is the fear to sleep in armor? You won't be rested. Oh, the feat to sleep in armor. Oh. I don't know if that's here yet or not. Ambush tactics, catfall. That would be a good one. That would be a great one. Yeah, because you don't get any rest if you try to sleep in your, unless it specifically has that trait. Lasting coercion. Feet. Quick jump. I don't remember off the top of my head. Student of the cannon. Oh, be quiet, Roxy. My dog's whining. Trick magic item. Let me see. I'm searching for the feat now. Armored rest, feat 10. We are way away from there. What? It's called Armored Rest. In Pathfinder 2e, the Armored Rest feat allows a character to sleep in armor without becoming fatigued the next day. The character must have slept in... Let's go AoE. So yeah, this is the feat, but you need a sword master. We are not a sword master. We're a hammer master. So we will go ahead and do, and remember, we already have a bunch of jump feats from picking Leap the Falls. Whatever I think is best. I'm going to pick Titan Wrestler, probably. It basically allows you to do it for size. And there are certain APs that I'm aware of where it comes in super handy, but it is very situational. To pick acrobatics, well, we'll do that. We can do that definitely. I think we already have. Yeah, we already have acrobatics. So now we're on level 5. This is probably going to be the last level we're going to do. And once again, I am going to put a link to this in the description, so anybody can download it and do whatever they want with it. But it does belong to Raven's Path, apparently. So, skill increase. Our intimidation is already expert. I'm not worried about medicine. In a lot of cases, I take medicine at some point. It's always nice to have more people that can treat wounds. But we're an exemplar. Why would we care about medicine? It does not belong to you. Its name is Ravencrawler. What was the full name? Raven's Claw. Deception. I would say we either do acrobatics or athletics. If we're doing Titan Wrestler, I'm going to say athletics. An ability boost, strength, con, dex, and B+ student. Oh, what happened? We have a B+ student in wisdom, B+ student in intelligence. I'm going to say charisma again. Once again, keep working on that intimidation. And then ancestry feats. Anybody have anything specific here? I still like superstition only because it helps you get a reaction against magic. War Mask is actually a lot of fun. But what do we get at 5th? I don't think I've ever played an orc up to 5th. Matter of fact, I know I've never played an orc up to 5th. Athletic Might. That's pretty good. Bloody blows. You lethal. I just read it without reading it out loud, and I'm on a live stream, so you have to read it. Surviving hostile terrain has given you a great talent for mobility. Whenever you roll a success in athletics check to climb or swim, you get a critical success. So you basically always get critical success on a success. Bloody blows. Your lethal unarmed attacks leave bloody gouges or cause severe internal bleeding. When you critically hit with a strike using an unarmed attack that isn't non-lethal, the target takes 1d4 persistent bleed damage. That's pretty cool. Very situational because it would have to be an unarmed type of encounter, which I don't know how often that would come into play. Clever Improviser, maybe Fist of the Ruby Phoenix, but I've actually never played Fist of the Ruby Phoenix. That's one of the ones that's on my list I want to play, not GM. Well, we already took Tusks. Yes, they are. Clever Improviser, you learn, this is great if you're a bard. You learn how to handle situations you're out of your depth. You gain the Untrained Improvisation general feat. You can attempt skill actions that normally require you to be trained, even if you are untrained. Rogue doesn't need it, but it would be great for Rogue. But Rogue is a skill monkey. They just have so many additional ones. This is great for bards. Demon Blood Frenzy. Reaction. There we go. Tusk's unarmed attack, which we already have. Frequency once per minute, so every 10 rounds. Oh, Bloody Blows for Tusks. Is that considered unarmed? Okay. Waffles. Are Tusks considered unarmed? If not, the other one is Demon Blood Frenzy. Has that the Fiend trait? No, that won't work. Let me look at Tusks real quick. Unarmed. There we go. You absolutely solved that. Waffles without a doubt, and you are 100% right. We're going to do bloody blows for tusks because tusks are considered an unarmed attack. Oh, it even says so here. This can be because you're taking penalty to use a fist for lethal attack or because you have an unarmed attack without the non-lethal trait due to Iron Fist, Tusk, or similar ability. I should have just read it. That's actually that's built for half-orcs, isn't it? And orcs. We're getting there. But you know what? Let's do, because I got another class feat here. Let's look at the 6th level class feats. We're going to do level 6 as well. So level 6. This are the, oh, yeah, I love this one, but you need to be ranged. I just love reading it. So blinding serpents, celestial errands, and hobgoblins. That's right. Now, I've never played a hobgoblin, but I have a druid in one of my parties that is a hobgoblin. Blinding serpent, celestial arrow. Your weapon icon is ranged or has the thrown trait. So if we could throw the warhammer, that could actually work. As you prepare to fire your weapon, you invoke divine serpents that bind your enemies. I love this. So we could use this one, 100%. Coiling serpent. Make a strike with your weapon icon. If the strike successfully deals damage, the target must succeed as a reflex save against your class DC, or the arrow transforms into a multitude of ethereal snakes that coil around the target, immobilizing it until it succeeds an escape attempt against your class DC. We have Titan Wrestler. We have Binding Serpent, Celestial Arrow. We have Blue Steel. We have, what is the other thing? I kind of like that one. I'm going to select that, but we're going to go back to the other 2 that are there. What was the other one? Intimidating Glare and Mournful. So we have a bunch. What I love about this build, if you really want to know, I'd love to play this build, is there are so many third actions or those actions you can take to help the rest of the party. That's actually fantastic. Let's go back to 6. Motionless Cutter. Motionless Cutter. Your weapon icon is a melee weapon that deals slashing damage, so this would not be one we could take. But your weapon is so sharp, even an insect alighting upon its motionless blade would be severed. Your weapon icon gains the following ability. Severing 4 dragon wings. God, that's a good name. Leap to move onto the battlefield. This is a great character, actually. A great frontliner. Make a strike with your weapon icon. Did we pick the one that could heal too? No, we did not pick the one that could heal. But yeah, you can do a lot with this character. We made it so that the other person has a harder time healing. Make a strike with your weapon icon. If that strike is successful, you can immediately make an additional strike against another target within reach. So it's almost sweep. Your multiple attack penalty does not apply to the strike, which is fantastic, but you take a -2 penalty to the attack roll for each other attack you have made this turn. Continue making strikes in this manner until you have made a total of 4 strikes, or you miss with a strike, whichever comes first. So for 3 actions, you can get up to 4 strikes with only a -2 per multiple attack penalty. That's pretty awesome if you have a cutting weapon. And then reactive strike, repeat strike. Exactly. But that is the only action you can do because that's a 3-action transcend. Unless you have haste. Reactive strike, feat 6. Creature within your reach uses a manipulate action. This is just reactive strike. So if you want reactive strike as an exemplar, you can get it. Reactive strike is attack of opportunity pre-remaster. That's what it is. It's pre-remaster. I am thinking, okay, we are using a Warhammer is what we're going to be using. So Motionless Cutter, I love that one. But we aren't going to be using a cutting weapon. So reactive strike or attack of opportunity or binding serpent celestial arrow. I am thinking binding serpent celestial arrow only because of the utility that we're giving this frontliner to help other people in the party. This is a 2-action. You could do a strike. And if, let's say you do a strike and you roll an 18 on the die and you still aren't hitting the target, you can use this or Titan Wrestler or one of your other things in order to get that armor class down to help the rest of your party strike it. Because if you're the frontliner and you can't hit it with an 18, you need to do something to bring that other character down. So binding serpent celestial arrow. And skill feat. Another one of these. Let's go to 6. Say that again is funny. I love say that again. An opponent gets a critical failure when attempting to demoralize you or lie to you. The world is full of, I love this one. The world is full of obnoxious weasels who think they can pull one over on you. Put them in their place with an adjacent creature, attempts to lie to you or demoralize you, and gets a critical failure on the roll. You use your reaction to make a shove attempt against that opponent. If combat results, you can roll intimidation for your initiative check. I actually love that one. I don't know how useful it is. It's very situational because once again, if combat results, so this has to happen with before combat, but I like where you're going, both of you, Waffles and Raven's Path. I say we take it. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, 100%. Tizzy can do a lot. And Tizzy not only can hit, prevent someone from healing, but Tizzy can also demoralize with a glare, trip, grapple, and bind with Coiling Serpent, which is a grapple, basically. But Tizzy's a frontliner to be reckoned with. I'm super happy with this. I think that's far we're going to go. We've been doing this for a good while now. You can play her. When the face fumbles, yes, exactly. When the face fumbles, Tizzy steps in. So this is probably as far as we're going to go. Immediately after this, within 10 minutes, it's probably going to, I'm going to do the whole thing where I go to the beginning and I say, live starts. It's usually 6:46 to 6:50 for some reason, even though I have the timer set for 7. So I don't know why it works out that way. But I will go ahead and put this on the description. So download Tizzy. I love Tizzy. We didn't pick any weapons, defense, gear, spell, or any of that kind of stuff. We don't need to pick much of this, but weapons, defense, and gear is stuff that still needs to be picked. I really like Tizzy. If anybody wanted to play this for the playtest and then report it on the survey, 100% feel free. This is a damn good character. Probably shouldn't swear. I know most people can handle swearing, but don't ever lie to Tizzy. Don't ever lie to Tizzy at 6th level, because then Tizzy's going to shove you and then roll intimidation for initiative. Let's see, what can I think to close out with? Cover some of the beginning stuff I already did. We're at video 190, so probably not next week, but the week after. So in 2 lives, we're probably going to have something. Here's what I've been thinking in my head, even as we've been doing this live. Maybe not the next one, but the one after that will be at 200 videos are out. I might do something along the lines of, and it had to be something that would be universal. Maybe do something like a giveaway, like very good character for playtest. But for now, this is the giveaway thing. I don't want to do something like, because like you could do anyone, Rage of the Elements or a book or something like that. I wonder if I can do a code for a. Anyways, I'm thinking about doing like a $25 gift code to paizo.com so someone can go get a book. A giveaway on the 20th one. Whoever shows up to the 12th live, because that would be 2 weeks from now, that would be past our 200 videos. Something along those lines is kind of where I'm thinking about going. Easy to distribute. Someone definitely gets it. And it would basically be, at that point, it would be Dice Gods. We would basically pick at, 1 hour into the live, whoever's online, roll a die. I think you can do it in chat as well, actually. And then code for Pathfinder Nexus. No, that is so, well, now Pathfinder Nexus, as long as they don't have to buy any books on Pathfinder Nexus, yes. Yes, it does. That's true. It does give them the player. But that's something I'm thinking about doing. There'll be more coming out. Once again, that's 2 lives from now. So I'm 10 videos away. Video for tomorrow is already in the can. We have, let me go back to the big one so we can see what I'm actually doing here. This review is going to be coming out probably sometime next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. This one I am probably going to do. I don't like doing the role play ones too close back to back, and here's why. I love doing the role play ones. If you could look at the metrics for the different video types, whenever I do a role play video, people watch 70% of it, 80% of it, which is super high, even for super big streamers. But the view count is always low. So if I put a lot of role-playing ones back to back, everything kind of tanks for a bit. But this will probably come out next week as well. Monday, someone who I've already done an independent creator review on has another one they want me to do. They are going to be starting a Kickstarter on Monday. It is a super cool thing. It is a big project. And by that, I mean, it's not a 20-page, and there's nothing wrong with this. Please don't ever think I'm saying there's anything wrong with this, because there isn't. But it isn't a supplement. It's a full-on player's guide, GM guide type thing. And it's not even a campaign. It's almost like it's bigger. And they have someone who very recently contributed, and I mean, when I say contributed, I mean name on the cover contributed to a Paizo book, is someone who's working on this project with them. It's a pretty big deal, I think. Advanced Languages and Literacy picked it up. I like Pathfinder Infinite, and I am looking for more reviews. I love doing the independent creator reviews, but that is going to be coming out Monday, and I've already read it like 3 times, and I started doing notes, and then I got to record it, and then there's a little back and forth with the creators, because you want to make sure that whenever you do an independent creator review, how to say this? If I'm doing something that isn't an independent creator, this is Simon & Schuster. This is a huge publisher, and they have tons of these. Somebody who has 600 subscribers isn't going to tank it. But if you are an independent creator and you're trying to get your stuff done, you need to be a little bit careful, because a lot of times what might be a misunderstanding, and you'll say, oh, well, I hated this part of it. And then the author comes back and says, well, it wasn't supposed to work that way. How it's supposed to work is this. And you can be like, oh, and I've had it where sometimes people will change it to make it a little clearer before it actually gets published. And sometimes they explain it to me and I'm just an idiot, but you don't ever want to hurt an independent. I don't ever want to hurt an independent publisher. So they'll get a chance to look at it before it actually gets published. All that aside, I went into another big tangent. Monday is when to expect that independent creator preview, and it is a preview because it's when the Kickstarter starts. I'm super excited about that one, though. But aside from that, I can't really think about anything else to really cover, so I'm probably going to call it right here. And just like always, I greatly appreciate people showing up. You always kind of go into these things, and by that I mean live streams, and you're like, well, because sometimes this is something you don't prepare too much for, because otherwise you're a robot. But then also, if you're doing one and no one shows up to a live and you're just trying to talk for a little bit, I would imagine, fortunately I haven't had that happen, not even once yet. But I appreciate everybody showing up. I appreciate basically, watching the channel for so long and all the interaction I get with it. And I hope everybody looks forward to all the stuff that's going to be coming out super soon. Not even the stuff I was talking about. I just mean, the playtest is still going on. We have the new Pathfinder Society 3 and 4 were announced today on the blog. And I do have the Foundry modules, so I'm super excited to look to see what the Foundry modules look like on there. There's just a lot of stuff. There's just tons of stuff that is coming out, and I'm really looking forward to. So I do appreciate everybody showing up. Everybody can try to be the Sly Strategist. The Sly Strategist isn't me. The Sly Strategist is everybody's aspirational, because I am not the Sly Strategist. Just trying. But all that aside, I appreciate everybody showing up, and I guess we will talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot. And I'll say, the dogs say goodbye too. You guys heard them for the first time, I believe. So thanks a lot.